What if the reason you keep struggling isn't because you haven't found the right tool, but because tools alone will never change your life? Quick fixes can soothe you for a while, but they don't free you. Hello and welcome to Unbox the Podcast. I'm Sahar Huneidi Palmer, your life mentor and host. Today, in season 25, episode 38, we are talking about why tools and techniques on their own are never enough, and why what really shifts your life is perspective by stepping back far enough to see the big picture. And this is what truly sets you free. So many of you ask me, Sahar, do you have a tool for this? A tool for anxiety? A technique to fall asleep faster? A tool to stop overthinking? And yes, I provide many tools. You will find them on my website, in my ebooks, and on my YouTube channel. They work. They do help you to feel better in the moment. And here's the truth. Unless you place these tools within the bigger perspective of your life, they're just temporary fixes. They soothe the symptoms without resolving the cause, the root cause. That's why people often say, I tried this so many times, but I got stuck again. Tools are tactical. Perspective is transformational. Why is perspective power? Perspective is the lens through which you see your life. It determines how you interpret events, how you respond, and ultimately whether you keep looping through the same patterns or move forward. When you're caught in the middle of a struggle, your mind narrows, your body reacts, and you see only what's in front of you. This is how we're made. You focus on the symptom, the knot in your stomach, the anxiety before a meeting, the restless sleep, and so on. To really change, you need to take a step back, all the way back, as my mentor used to say. You need to become a neutral observer of your own life. Only when you step into the observer's position, you can see the patterns that are developing, where you are at in your path, and this allows the next aligned step to emerge. It takes the stress out of the struggle if you think about it. So, what is the neutral observer? As a neutral observer, you're not judging. You're not criticizing yourself and therefore enforcing the problem by doing so. You're noticing. You're mapping. You're saying, this is what's happening. Here's the pattern that I see. Here's where I'm standing. And when you do that, suddenly the same problem that felt overwhelming looks different. What happens is you gain clarity. One of the ways that I do this in my life is through something I call triangulation. If you want to know your true coordinates in life, you need 3 points and you connect them. And that is how navigation works. I use the same principle in my mentoring and also in making my own decisions. For example, when I look at my podcast statistics, I don't just check one platform. I look at 3, Apple, Spotify, and another. When the same trends show up across these 3 points, I know I have a clearer picture of how this podcast is doing, who's listening, and where. You can do the same in your life. Pick 3 areas to track. For example, your body's signals, your emotional triggers, and the repetitive self-talk. Watch them over time. Observe them, I should say, over time. When you do, you will see the trends. You will know where you're heading and what needs to be tackled. That's triangulation. Another strategy of mine is that I set goals for, say, 3 to 5 areas in my life. I then zero in on 12 highest important goals for me, and I spread them out over 12 months, one goal for each month. This way, I remind myself of my target, my goals, and I celebrate achieving them every month. It tells me where I am in life, because each phase of life has different goals. And at the end of the year, when I reflect back, I can see that at least 12 goals have been achieved. I am making progress, and I give myself, believe it or not, a pat on the shoulder. And this is where the 4 dimensions of change, the BEMA methodology, comes in. So let's connect what we've been talking about to the 4 dimensions: body, emotions, mind, and accountability to action. Your first level of awareness is your physical body. Tools like breath work can calm the body, but perspective helps you listen to what your body is really telling you. Tight shoulders may mean you're carrying responsibility that isn't yours for a long time. Poor sleep may be a sign of unprocessed emotions or undefined excitement over what is coming. Tools can soothe feelings, but perspective asks, what's the message behind this emotion? Anger may be pointing to boundaries, not necessarily just forgiveness. Sadness may be asking you to release it. Anxiety may be signaling the need to prepare or to prioritize. Third dimension is your mind. Tools like affirmations certainly can be helpful, but perspective means asking, what lens am I thinking through? Am I still repeating an old story, or am I seeing things clearly? And finally, accountability. Tools often end when the exercise ends. Perspective carries you forward into an aligned action by understanding what direction your life is going towards. You make one clear choice that matches your bigger picture, and you follow through. Here's a client story to share with you how that worked. A client of mine had tried every tool: meditation, affirmation, breathing apps, sleep monitoring apps. They all helped. But at work, he still froze whenever someone interrupted his meetings. When we worked together, we stepped back. We became the neutral observer. We triangulated his body's signals, his emotional triggers, and his thoughts in the recent situations. The pattern became clear. His freeze response went back, all the way back, to a family story where he was told as a child to keep quiet and not speak up. That awareness changed everything. It wasn't another tool that he needed, it was perspective. From that perspective, he chose one aligned action, preparing a sentence he could use when interrupted. And for the first time, he spoke up in a meeting with calm clarity. Here is something you can try this week. Take one recurring struggle in your life and write it down. Then step back, become the neutral observer. Ask yourself, if I zoom out and look at the big picture of my life, when did this pattern start developing? Try and go back to the earliest memory that you can access. Next, start to triangulate. Choose 3 points over your lifetime where your body, your mood, your morning self-talk signaled this story. Watch the trend. Then choose one aligned action that fits the bigger picture, not just the moment. See how this mapped out over some time. If this episode is resonating with you, now is a good time to follow Unbox the Podcast. And if you would like to explore more tools, you'll find plenty on my website and YouTube channel. But remember, tools are most effective when they sit within a perspective. It's a perspective shift that integrates them into lasting change. I want to add something here about intuition and logic. Intuition and logic go hand in hand. Intuition is your inner whisper. It shows you what's hidden, what direction to go towards. Logic is your planner. It organizes your next step. When I triangulate, I use both. I listen to my intuition. I check data or facts, if you like. That balance keeps me grounded, creative, and aligned. Here are some common questions that people ask me. How long does it take to change? My answer is it depends on your willingness to step back, take yourself out of your story, map the patterns, and act out on what you see. Change can happen immediately when perspective shifts. Another question is this: why do I regress? You're not going backwards. Growth is like a spiral. Each time you return to a theme, you meet it according to the level of awareness you are at. This is not failure, it is refinement, and it helps you to get to the root cause of the problem. That's why awareness matters. The patterns becomes clearer and you respond a lot sooner. Here's a simple daily rhythm you can try. Each morning, pause for a minute or two and ask yourself, what is my body telling me today? What is my emotional tone? What is my first thought? You can triangulate your answers. Then choose one aligned action for the day. In the evening, review your 3 points in less than 5 minutes. Over time, you will see how powerful perspective really is. So remember this: tools help, but perspective transforms. Quick fixes soothe. Perspective rewrites your story. Thank you for listening to Unbox the Podcast. If this episode spoke to you, please follow now and take a moment to review it on your favorite platform. This really helps more people to find these conversations. Until next Tuesday, remember, self-awareness is not an event, it's a long-term journey. And that you can rewrite your story and reclaim your power. This is Sahar Huneidi Palmer, wishing you a great week.